Lab Addicts Music Group.
What's goody? What's goody? What's goody? It's your boy Maas, and this is Adult Conversations with Maas.
Lab Addicts Music Group.
Before we go any further, we got to give thanks to the Most High for allowing us to see another day, see another sunrise, see another sunset, and to love on the people that we love. I want to give a special shout out to the MA family, to all the subscribers, and to all the viewers that have tuned in to the Maas Appeal YouTube page. We went over 375,000 views this morning. I don't know about nobody else, but that's a big accomplishment for me. That's 375,000 people that tuned into your boy. That's what's goody. Now that right there, that's what's good. But tonight's show, it was going to be on immigrants, and we may still get to do immigrants still want to identify as white, but with everything that's been going on in the tri-state area of Kentucky, Ohio, and Indiana. Gun violence, gun violence in the black community. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. That's what we're going to start off talking about. And last night here in Cincinnati, there was a young man, 14 years old, 14 years old, that was shot and killed last night here in Avondale. 14 years old, shot in front of his house. Taekwon Jones Alexander. Bishop Ennis Tate, who worked with Jones Alexander briefly when he was younger, as part of his community outreach, which works to tackle roots root causes of gun violence and let children know there are other options. He said it's a perfect example of when you touch a young person's life and in a short period of time, it can turn around in a different way. Tate said there's an epidemic of youth violence in Cincinnati. And I'll be the first to say it's not just Cincinnati. There was a man that was killed in Louisville, Kentucky over the weekend while he was driving his car. Police found him in his car, shot to death. He had been shot in his car, wrecked into something, and when the police arrived, he was in his car dead. Then in Indianapolis, there was a mass shooting downtown Indianapolis. 7 people were shot, 2 people were killed. 7 people were shot, 2 were killed. Then we have Chicago, where a young lady's album release party was shot up. 12 people were shot, 14 people were shot. 4 people died. The girl who was having the album release party, hey Skills, hey Camille, the girl that was having the album release party, her brother, her boyfriend, and her 2 sisters were killed. Night of partying, celebrating their sister, girlfriend, family, only for this girl to lose 4 members of her family. And then, also last night, in Philadelphia, there was a block party going on. And basically it was a shootout, but shootout on this block. And I've watched the video and I'm not going to show that video. I've seen the Chicago video and I've watched the Philly video. And I'm not going to show either one of those. But in Philadelphia, 12 people were shot, 3 people died. Why why do young black children feel the need to resolve all conflicts through gunplay? Why is this? Now we'll have people that will say, "Hi, pontoon Jody." Now we'll have people to say, "Oh, white people get shot in white neighborhoods, Mexican people get shot in Mexican neighborhoods, and so on and so forth." But that's not what we're talking. We're talking about the indiscriminate use of firearms in predominantly black neighborhoods to solve all conflicts. These rappers rapping their songs now, they, they don't fight. 21 Savage said he doesn't fight, meaning that people keep scores like it's a football game, like it's a basketball game. We winning. We killed 9 of y'all and only 4 of ours is dead. We winning. We winning the game. It's the, where did this need? Thank you, Pontoon Jody. Where did this need? When did when did using your knuckles stop? When, and then you'll hear stories about these guys that shoot guns, and then when they go to jail, they become somebody's wife because without a gun, they're not tough. Where did this? Where? Now, I grew up in the '90s, and there's been gang warfare for the most part of my life. Not that I was involved in it or anything like that, but it has surrounded me in my life. Not really. I mean, not really growing up. There were gangs in Louisville when I was growing up, but yeah, there weren't just drive-by. It wasn't like South Central. We didn't just have indiscriminate drive-bys and stuff. There would be occasional gang fights, and somebody would pull a gun out, but there was a change. I don't know if this change was drug culture or what. It's tougher. Children think it's tougher now to pull a gun out and shoot somebody as opposed to beating a man mano with mano. Where did this change? Where? It's not tough. It's not tough to settle your differences with your hands. Everybody's had fights. No, I did not grow up in the trap. I did not grow up in the trap. We ain't. Yeah, we're not gonna go that far. We're not gonna go that far. But where did this change? Where did this? Where did this change? When did this change occur? Where it was it with NWA? Is it hip hop music? Is it gang culture? Is it hip hop music? What is it? I just named 5 shootouts that have occurred just in the last 48 hours. Where where is this anger for your common man? Where is this anger coming from? And now it's not just men, women are out here shooting people, killing people, joining in drive-bys, packing pistols, pulling pistols out. I've seen videos of women, yeah, women shooting at each other. Where did this come from? Just indiscriminate, unrepentant use of firearms in the black community. Deleting, what I mean, man, man, if they do it, man, they do. They do what they do, man. Man. We are adults, man. I don't deleting. That just man, yeah. People getting deleted. Okay. What? Where is this anger coming from? But these same dudes will tuck their tail if somebody from a different race say something out of line to them. They won't do nothing. Where is this hate coming from? I've never. I don't want to kill nobody. I most definitely don't want to kill nobody that looks like me. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. We're talking about gun violence in the black communities. I know that it says that we were going to talk about immigrants, but I saw some things in the last 2 hours, and it just made me just talking about gun violence is just it just seems more important right now. Why can nothing be done? You can't lock everybody up. Locking people up can't be the solution. It just with anything, it has to start in grassroots effort. People in those communities have to want better. That's where it starts at. You have to love where you live at. It may not be the best, but you have to love where you live at. Because in a lot of these communities, there's nothing but death and despair. You know the streets. The streets to have glass, broken bottles in the streets, garbage strewn everywhere, people sitting on milk crates, not doing anything. I never, when I was growing up, my mother and my grandmothers would never let me hang on the corner. And I never could understand why. Why can't I just wanted to hang out? I just wanted to. None of them, none of these three women would allow me to hang on the corner. And I never really understood it until I got older. And I came home from college, and all those corners that I wanted to hang on in the corner, they all had teddy bears that was molded and mildewed. They all had flowers. They all had little shrines on all these corners, on all these places where people congregated at. There were teddy bears that were rain soaked and over and over in black neighborhoods. Those corners were the killing fields. The little boy that got killed last night in Cincinnati was in the middle of the street when he got shot and killed. They haven't said any of the circumstances that surround why there was shooting. They haven't said anything. They just said that it was about 12 or 13 shots. They have all the bullet casings and everything, if that, and one person was dead. 14-year-old boy whose birthday is August the 18th. Right before it's time to go back to school, he would have been turning 15. Hey, Bud Fouls, how you doing? Now, I understand people's Second Amendment right, your right to bear arms and to protect your property, land, property, and person, and I understand all this. But no one should be able to go into a pawn shop and purchase a firearm the same day. Nobody. I can go to a pawn shop right around the corner from me and I can get basically an AK. It's an SK because it's not fully automatic at the pawn shop. An SK. I can get a double barrel shotgun. I can go in there if I got the money and I got my I can go in there and get a gun. I can go in there, pay the money for a gun, and walk out with that gun and ammo. Now we know that these most of these shootings that are occurring in predominantly black neighborhoods, we know these aren't being committed with guns that are purchased. These are black market guns. People buying them on. They got these ghost guns out now that you can buy them. They don't have any. They don't have any mechanisms of tracing. Basically, they make them with a 3D printer, and it's a ghost gun. That's why they call them ghost guns because they have no serial numbers. Yeah, it's a ghost gun. If you have a high quality 3D printer and you get your hands on the file to make a gun, you can make your own. I hear you, Dark Star. There's ways around it too. You can go to a gun show. You don't have to fill out a 4473 form at a gun show. You can go into a gun show, purchase. There's ways around those forms. Those forms really mean nothing. Those forms mean nothing. Go around those forms every day. I mean, I know what you're saying, Dark Star, but I'm just telling you that I can go into the pawn shop around my corner and with my money, I can purchase a gun and I can walk out of there with that. That's what I'm telling you. Now, ain't nothing on my background check. Nothing. I've had an NCIS background check around. I've been cleared. So there's ways around those forms. Go to a pawn shop right now and buy a gun and walk out with the gun and the gun case. It can be done. So I mean, you fill those forms out. I mean, what about the people that are sending somebody to the pawn shop to buy a gun for them and they're giving them the what I'm saying is it's too easy to get a gun. It's too easy to get a gun. And lots of a lot of these people that have guns, they have guns, they have more gun power than the police. That's why the police won't go into some of these things. But we're talking about why. Where has the change gone? Where did the change occur? Where gunplay was the only form of conflict resolution. That's the only form of conflict resolution that these young people have. It's guns. And some older people, guns. No more mano y mano. No more. Now I have seen videos where people have had guns and they sit their gun and they yeah, few and far in between. Dark Star, I understand what you're saying, and people fill out forms, but I'm just telling you, you can go into a pawn shop and walk out with a gun. Saying, "Now I know about the forms and everything you got to fill out, and I know all that, but guns are too easy to get. Guns are too easy to get." Now I understand what you're saying, but I live in Kentucky, Ohio. Yeah, these are different places. I got to wear a seatbelt. But a guy that's riding a motorcycle doesn't have to wear a motorcycle helmet. That's where I live at. I can get a ticket for wearing a seatbelt, but the dude on the crotch rocket doesn't have to wear a helmet. Now, make that make sense, but just telling you where I live at. And I mean, you're in Texas. People walk around in Texas with holsters, 2 6 shooters. Now, I understand what you're saying, Dark Star, but we're not going to sit here and say that everyone that has a gun filled out a 4473 form and acquired their gun correct. We're, that's why I'm saying is we can bring up forms and ATF laws and breaking laws. We can bring up all that. But that is not going to explain why there are guns in the hood. So we can go round and round about those forms and all that, but that defeats what we're talking about because those guns that are in the hood, didn't nobody fill out a 4473 form to get their gun. Can we agree to that? Right? Dark Star said they are, but everybody didn't know how to fight, but you still fought. Are people so a lot of times when you fought something with a lot of times the people that you fought, not all the time, but a lot of times when you fought somebody, you earned that person's respect. And the next day y'all was cool. I can name okay, I had fights with people, and those are some of the people that I talk to the most now. So I mean, there's something about hand to hand combat to settle your differences. You can sit back and laugh about it. Because a lot of times these people were getting shot over frivolous stuff. Our neighborhoods is beefing. Wow. Right. That's what I'm saying. YWG's bad guy. Yeah, bad guys don't sign forms. Yeah, them forms are for citizens. Yeah, forms are for citizens. We're not talking about citizens. We're talking about people that are outside the law. And why is it so easy for those people to get guns? And where did this change in conflict resolution? Where was it the 90s? Was it NWA? Was it, I mean, where did this change occur? I can say that the first hip hop artist that was killed in gun violence while I was growing up was Scott LaRock from Boogie Down Productions, KRS-One's DJ. He was shot and killed in some type of altercation. And I think after Scott LaRock was killed, I don't think it was a long time before another for some. I mean, then we can talk about Steady B and things like that. Steady B out of Philadelphia, him and his partner, they killed the first female police officer in Philadelphia history. They're on death row now. Um, what I'm saying is these cases were few and far in between. It wasn't like now. Somebody gets shot every day. Every day there is a shooting. They're not always reported, but every day here in the Cincinnati of Ohio, here in Cincinnati, Ohio, gunshots go off every day. YWG YWG is a social worker in his daytime life. He works with children that are basically in a halfway house before they go. And he said they think all whatever they do in the gang is fun. Yeah, Steady being Cool C. They've been on death row for a long time. They're old men now. They probably will never yeah, they probably will never see the chair. They're probably just gonna die from natural causes. I think they're probably in their 70s, if not late. No, I was young when that happened. But yeah, where did this and we know that COINTELPRO was used in hip hop and NWA unknowingly were a part of COINTELPRO. And if you don't know what COINTELPRO basically is what the government did to basically infiltrate anything black people were involved in. The government infiltrated the Black Panther Party. The government infiltrated the American Islamic movement. The government uses counterintelligence, COINTELPRO, to gain information on all these different minorities and how they can influence them and how they can basically become the puppeteer. Those places that we call projects, they don't call them projects for nothing. Those were projects. They could study government housing. The government can see who is living here, who is coming in and out, who is it's a project. It's a project to learn. What will happen if we put all these people in this little area right here with little to no resources? What's going to happen? It's going to turn into the survival of the fittest. Gun violence. Why do kids think having a gun in their hand is just the best thing? Because they don't have these children don't value life. They don't value life. They treat it as if it's a video game. They treat it as if they're playing The Sims or they're playing Call of Duty, and I'll be able to come back in the next game. No, there are no do overs. There are no do overs. Bullets don't have names. We're coming up on 9:42, 45 minutes into the show. These young people and these people that are being killed, it affect. I don't know if it affects anybody else, but it affects me. It affects me when I see a 14-year-old young man. He hasn't even lived. He hasn't even lived. He's dead. 14 years old, dead from gun violence. It affects me. I can't speak for nobody else, but yeah, that's why I don't really like looking at the news. But I have friends who live in Indianapolis. I have friends in Louisville, and I have friends in Cincinnati. So this stuff is posted on Facebook. So I'm coming across these things and I'm reading these articles, and it's crazy. If anybody has, because I'm not gonna show it on my show, but if you have your computer up or your phone or whatever, go to World Star. Go to World Star Hip Hop, and that shooting from Philadelphia, the Chicago shooting is on there, and the Philadelphia shooting. But I want you all to go look at the Philadelphia shooting. That was mayhem. That was mayhem. That was mayhem. And after you go and look at that video, I want you to comment and tell me what you think of what you saw when you look at that video from Philadelphia of that shootout that occurred last night. It's crazy. We are living in a crazy world right now. We just had 27 little girls that got swept away in the flash floods in Texas. Over 80 something people are confirmed dead. They're still looking for people. We are living in some crazy times. We're on the brink of world war. People are bombing each other. We are living in crazy, but it's even crazier at a micro level. When you look at what's going on around you in your community. And I just see people and we're talking about violence in the black community, but there's been several news stories here in Cincinnati of young white kids, young white guy was robbing somebody on Short Vine here in Cincinnati. It's a street up by UC, University of Cincinnati. I think that little young guy was like 14. He killed a 14 or 15-year-old little boy, shot and killed a 28 to 29-year-old man he was trying to rob. Little white. But a lot of those crimes, you're going to hear about some of them. But yeah, there was a shooting right around the corner from where I live at. Yeah, it wasn't reported, it wasn't in the news. There was a shooting. Sometimes you just have to be there to see it because a lot of stuff is not going to be on it unless they want it. Young man got shot right here in Cincinnati at this place called the Banks. I was just at the Banks 2 weeks ago for Juneteenth at an event called Palooza New Air here in Cincinnati. I was with one of my buddies. And I told him, I said, man, let's move back here because it's not if, it's when. He's like, what you, he's like, Bob, man, for you. Like, yeah, man, let's go back there. Because I was like, I'm looking at, I'm a people watcher. So I'm always going to be very, very observant when I'm out. Anybody that's been out in public with me will tell you I'm very observant. If I see some stuff I don't like, I let it be known. Yeah, let's go. Let's move. I'm very observant and I'm usually right. I said, man, let's move. I said, something's about to happen. And some song came on and we tried to get some footage. And when we were getting that footage, we were walking back to where we were And 10 minutes after we turned around, 10 seconds after we turned around, it was a stampede. That will probably be the last time that they do that event. And that's what people don't understand. Once you prove that you can't be civilized, you're not going to get the help because they're going to be like, these people are uncivilized. Why should we do anything for them? So it has to be grassroots effort, community policing. Mhm. Maybe some of these black officers, I mean, maybe they need to have police where they have these bad areas. Maybe they need to have police substations on every other corner. I don't know. But you complain about there's always a police presence in your neighborhoods, but the police presence must not be as intense as you say it is because even with all that police presence, shootings and killings still occur. Nobody knows, no witnesses, no nothing. Nobody saw anything. This is a big thing of people. If you're a citizen, if you're a citizen and you're not a part of a crime, you're not snitching. You're a citizen. Snitching is reserved for criminals. Criminals snitch on each other. Citizens, they don't do no snitching. It's not snitching. Criminals snitch. Citizens try to keep their community in order. I mean, hey, what can be done? Are we just going to continue? I mean, are we just resigned to the fact that every other day we're going to see another person shot, another dead person? And I mean, what is going to be? I mean, mm, I know the Second Amendment right, man, and I understand these things, but guns are too easy for the youth to get their hands on. I think I've talked about that enough. I don't want to keep talking about it because it puts me in a bad space. Yeah, I guess I just needed to vent. I don't know. Puts me in a bad place when I see people lose their lives indiscriminately for no reason. It bothers me. It hurts me. So hit the like button, share this video out, subscribe to the page. So tonight's subject is, do immigrants still want to identify as white? Now, hear me out. I'm, this is kind of controversial. Just hear me out. And in this conversation, I'm not just talking about skin tone. I'm talking about the whiteness as a system, as an idea, as a social currency that has been passed down like an inheritance, even to people who don't look like your average white American. Let's step back in time. When Irish people came here, when Italians came here, and even people from Eastern European, when they came to America, they weren't embraced as being white. No, they weren't embraced as being white, but they fought for it. And they didn't fight for it with their fists. They assimilated into white culture. They changed their names from the predominantly the names that if they were their last names, people would know they weren't American. A lot of white people came to America and changed their name. I mean, a lot of Africans come to America and change their names. His name is not Albert, Joseph, Jesus. Yeah, you know these guys is They sometimes they name themselves after famous people, but they change their names to be more Americanized. And usually they don't change their names to black sounding names, even if they're African. They don't change their names. Losing their accents, moving into the right neighborhoods, they traded culture for acceptance. A lot of white immigrants that were not looked at as being white traded their culture for acceptance. They traded their identity for access. And for a lot of them, it paid off. But with Trump in the office and how he's been treating immigrants, is that changing? He even went as far as to say he was going to deport Elon Musk. But what about immigrants now from Africa, the Caribbean, Latin America, the Middle East, South Asia? Do they still see whiteness as sort of the finish line in the American dream? Do the immigrants that are coming here now currently from all over the world, and we're talking African, Caribbean, Latin, we're talking black peoples, Spanish people, people from the Middle East, people from South Asia. Do these people see whiteness as the finish line in the American dream? And the reason I say that is that a lot of these immigrants that come to America, even the Spanish, even the Africans, they're basically told to steer clear of black people and blackness. Steer clear from it. Why is this? Why is this? In identifying with whiteness, I mean, have these immigrants realized something deeper than just white acceptance? Now, what I'm about to say is the uncomfortable truth. What I'm about to say is an uncomfortable truth. Many immigrants arrive in this country already trained to see blackness as something to avoid. I'm going to repeat that again. Many immigrants arrive in this country already trained to see blackness as something to avoid. Now, all of them don't fall victim to that. I have friends, I have African friends, I have friends from the Congo, I have lots of friends. And I mean, we've had candid conversations, and I asked them point blank, do Africans look at black people as part of the lineage? And some of them have said yeah, and then some of them have said no, they don't like. And I mean, some of us, I mean, we're melanated, but that does melanated is melanin really a connector? You know, we talk all this. We're melanated people, and we're this. And is melanin really a connector? And these immigrants that are coming now, trained to shun blackness, that's not by accident. That's intentional. That's colonization echoing through generations. That's how a lot of immigrants come here, and they don't see them. They see themselves as being better than you as a black person. A lot of immigrants come here and see themselves as being better than you as a black. They've been educated through the media and old world caste systems, whispering, don't get too close to them. Stay light, stay safe. So what we're talking about isn't just do they want to be white. That's going deeper than that. That is, we're talking about what are they running from when they shun blackness and everything associated with blackness. But basically, everything that black people do, they copy because everybody wants to be a ninja until you get ninja treatment. Everybody wants to be a ninja and do what ninjas do until you get ninja treatment. Then you don't want to be a ninja. Then you're not black. I'm not black. I'm not American. YWG said they are easily controlled if they're told to stay away from us. And you know, this conversation, I'm not condemning anyone. That's not the purpose of this conversation. This conversation is not to condemn anyone. I'm just here to ask questions. Just here to ask questions and see what the MA family thinks. Now, this is where it gets big because how do these dynamics affect how immigrants vote? Who they marry, where they live, who they hire or don't hire? I got a buddy from here. Well, he's not from here. He's originally from California, and he had been here in Kentucky for some years. And him and his family moved back to California. And the reoccurring theme that kept coming up was he couldn't get a job because everywhere he went to an interview, he was interviewing. He works in the food industry. Every time he went to interviews, he was always being interviewed by a Mexican person. Or if he got a job, he wouldn't get shifts. He would get 10 hours a week. But he said that a lot of places he couldn't get a fair deal because a lot of immigrants, I mean, a lot of, and we're talking about California, so a lot of immigrants are going to come in and basically before ICE raids, a lot of people are going to hire their family because people hire people that look like them for the most part. I think that's really, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I have been working in human resources and talent acquisition for about 20 years. I have about 15 years of experience in recruiting, all types of recruiting, as well as about 6 years of supervisory experience. And and I'm a certified professional through SHRM, which is the Society for Human Resources Management, which means basically I'm certified in the workings of human resources and talent acquisition. I also have a master's in public administration with a concentration of human resources management. I have never been interviewed for a director of talent acquisition or a director of recruitment position ever with all the credentials that I told you. Now, why is that? Some would say that they would think that I would get into that role and I'm going to hire a lot of black. I'm going to hire the qualified people. I've worked in, yes, I have hired some black people, a lot, but the people that I hired were qualified for the jobs that they did. And I didn't just hire women, white women, I hired everyone. I didn't discount anyone based on anything because my thing was to get the best person for the role. Now, if that person happened to be a black person, but a lot of times it doesn't matter. A lot of people don't think like that. They're going to put their people ahead of you because I need a doctorate in HR. No, I'm good. I'm not going back to school. Yeah, I've started my own business. But I'm just saying these are I understand where my friend and I just told this story to back up what my friend said in terms of him not being able and they were talking about, immigrants vote, who they marry, where they live, who they hire, and who they don't hire. And those are things that happen. I don't think I'm speaking on anything that is without merit and things of that nature. Yeah. Now, things are changing. It used to see you would see, things are changing. Things are getting better because now I will see some African Americans on different work sites, different places of work that were once dominated by Latinos. I will see different individuals, white people, black people, a part of these groups now. Now, that may be because of ICE or whatever, but I'm just saying. There were times that you would never see a black person as part of a Mexican team of groundskeepers. You just would. You just would. But things are changing. Things are changing. Why is it? Why is it? Now this is a question. This is a question that I'm gonna need some responses. Why is it that some immigrants will say, I'm not black, but won't say I'm not white? Why do some distance themselves from black causes? And that's a big topic right now because we are getting ostracized because they say we're not a part of this black and brown coalition. I say that there's never been a black and brown coalition. There's been black causes that some brown people have helped, and there's been some brown causes that black people have helped. But I don't this black brown unity. Nah, you go to jail and Mexicans and black people are trying to eliminate each other. Latinos have essentially kicked all the black people out of South Central. So there's no black and brown unity. Let's call it what it is. A lot of black people where one time South Central LA was 80 something percent African American, I think it's like 80% Mexican or 80% Hispanic. So there this illusion that it's why I'm trying that's why I'm saying is melanin a connector of communities or is it just some people got melanin and some people don't? Does melanin is melanin because this is and I'll be honest. I used to say I was a Pan Africanist, but I'm not so sure that I'm a Pan Africanist. No, I'm being honest. I don't think I'm a Pan. I used to say that I was a Pan because melanin, from what I've seen in my life, now you can tell me differently. Melanin doesn't necessarily connect you to other people. We want to say, oh, we're melanated peoples, BIPOCs, stuff like that. But I would say that melanin is not a connector. Just think that, you know, just think that there's groups of people. Some groups of people are melanated and some groups aren't. I don't think being melanated, I don't think that is a connector of people. Oh, you're melanated, I'm melanated. Oh, I don't think that has anything to do with. I don't That's why you'll have Africans that will come over here, and you'll have Dominicans that will come over here, and you'll have Latinos that will come over here, and they're melanated, and they'll say they're white. Yeah, I was wondering too, but I've had a change. I mean, I was younger. I was younger, but I don't really see myself as a. I don't see myself as a Pan Africanist no more. I don't. Because I melanin is not a connector to me. And to some people, having melanin doesn't make them black. That's how you'll have Africans that'll come over here and say they're white. You'll have Latinos that come over and say they're white. This is what it is. So with that being said in this long intro, let's talk open. Let's talk honest. Y'all know I'm gonna talk with no filter. Do immigrants still want to identify as white? And I'm saying that based off what's going on in the Trump administration. The Trump administration is targeting all melanated immigrants that aren't black. YWG said ICE is opening a lot of jobs, and they're opening a lot of jobs all across America because Donald Trump still has that directive of he wants 3,000 people deported daily. And who is the number one immigrant population in America? Hispanics. So did claiming to be white help Latinos? Because a lot of Latinos claim whiteness on those demographic forms. Now they have to put that they Hispanic, but they still say they white. They don't put black. They don't put yeah. There is no category on these melanated. No, and the only people that are claiming to be black are Black Americans. Africans don't even claim themselves as black. They claim themselves as white in terms of demographics. They've been told that it will help them if that's what they do. And I've had friends that have told me this, that they have been told to claim themselves as white. And they was like, white. And some of them do it and some of them don't. Colorism. Colorism. In 2025, colorism is still a very, very big issue. That's why you will have people that are melanated from other nations that try to bleach the blackness off of them. I don't know what that's all about, but yeah. And why do Europeans and Austrians and all these people that come from these European nations, why do they claim themselves white? They're not white Anglo-Saxons. They're not white. And Italians have melanin. We're not even going to talk about the Moors and Italians. That's a three-part series. If we talk about Italians and the Moors, so Italians are melanated. What I'm gonna ask you all why YW said bleaching is a mental illness. Why do immigrants come here, try to be as far away from black people as they can, But when it's time for some support or they need some, then they want black people to coalition with them. When we need coalition, don't nobody want a coalition with us. But now they are getting the they're getting the ninja treatment that we can't even get because we're citizens. We're not immigrants. Now you have some Latinos that are saying that black Americans should be deported. Where are they going to deport us to? Where are they going? Latinos want us as black people to be deported. Where are we going? Where are they going to deport us to, Latinos? We can't be deported. Now everybody wants us to come and join it. Oh, why are we going? Why would that's and that's why I said I asked this question to several people, and no one could really. I mean, I got some answers, but what's going on with all the immigrants in the nation? What's happening to them? How can we help them? How can we help? We can't. Why would they want our help if they've been claiming whiteness for all this time? They've been using whiteness as an advantage over black people. Why would we support them? Did immigrants wanting to be white put a wedge between them and FBA's indigenous black people, persons of color, BIPOCs, black indigenous people of color? That's what BIPOC means, you all, if you didn't know. What can we do for them? We just had a conversation for an hour about young black people getting killed in the neighborhood and what can we I think we need to worry about that as opposed to worry about some people that are here illegally getting deported. Now, people that came here and were in the process to have green cards and stuff like that, they should be able to go finish their process. Now, if you've been over here and you knew you was here illegally and you didn't do it, I, I don't got no sympathy for you. I got no sympathy for you. Should I have sympathy for you? I don't know. My stepfather's from Panama. His family came to America when he was really young, and his family went through the process to become American citizens. So he looks. I've had conversations with my stepfather about this. We've had one conversation I've had, and sometimes he'll just shake his head. But He's a citizen. He said this ain't his fight. He's a citizen. Said he did what he was supposed to do. When they came here when he was young, he did what he's supposed to do. He became an American citizen. Their family, their entire family did. So this is I don't know. Has whiteness helped them? And if whiteness helped them, why isn't it helping them now? If you shun your melanin, why should we? If you shun your melanin, why come to melanated people for some help? You claimed yourself white on demographics, on your tax forms. You claimed yourself as white. You didn't claim yourself as melanated. So why would melanated BIPOCs join in your fight? We're citizens. A lot of immigrants used white identity as power over black people. Some claim blackness. I couldn't even get scholars. I went to Clark Atlanta University. I couldn't get a scholarship to Clark Atlanta University, but there are people that are getting scholarships to black universities that aren't black. In Kentucky, in Kentucky, Kentucky State University is the predominantly black university in Kentucky, one of them. The other is the Southern, I think it's Simmons. Simmons College is the other predominant HBCU in Kentucky. But Kentucky State University as a HBCU has more white people to go. Black people couldn't get scholarships to go to black HBCUs, but now white people can get scholarships to go to HBCU. Now, I'm not throwing any shade, but I know I have Indian friends. I have Indian friends that were able to get scholarships to HBCUs. Didn't make me upset. I just looked at it like, damn, I couldn't even get a scholarship to a HBCU, but a person that's not even black can get a scholarship to a HBCU. Why do immigrants fear blackness? And they'll say that, but the male immigrants will talk to black women, but those immigrant women, they not giving a black man the time of day. Now, you get a third generation immigrant or a second or third generation, you may be able to get one. But no first generation immigrant is going to give a black man the time of day. But black women, they get approached by immigrants. I've seen some. I've seen some Middle Eastern men with black girlfriends. The dudes that own the corner stores. I've seen them with black women. You're not gonna see no black man with no Pakistani woman. I can guarantee you that. You never gonna see a Pakistani woman with no black man, but you'll see some Pakistani men with black women. Yep. YWG said ICE is interrupting the green card process with handcuffs. Now, I disagree. Now, that's one thing. I will say this, YWG. I disagree with that. I disagree with that. I disagree with that for the fact that they are in the process of becoming, they have done what they were supposed to do to become a citizen. So I think that they should be able to complete their process. So I that's one aspect of what's going on. I don't agree with that. 100%. I do not agree with that. If you started the process, you should be able to complete that. Now, if you don't have your green card, then I don't think I have no legs to stand on. But if you have a green card and you're in the process, so I mean, if you get deported, do they take your green card status? Yeah, I don't agree with that. That's where I draw the line at YWG. I don't agree with that. I think that if you're in the process to become a citizen, you should be able to complete the process that you start if you have a green card, because that's almost to completion. So yeah, that's one place where I disagree. I disagree with that. I do. But why were I mean, immigrants are taught to shun black people. Why are they running to us for help now? I don't. Now, I'm gonna say this: you can trick some of the people some of the time, but you can't trick all of the people all of the time. I'll repeat that again. You may be able to trick some of the people some of the time, but you'll never be able to trick all of the people all of. Yeah, I think people are waking up. That's why you have people of color, black people, black Americans, that are shunning this immigration fight. And I think that the main reason that a lot of black people are shunning this immigration fight is because we know a lot of you all claimed to be white. You know what? You get the demographic form and you can say you're black, Hispanic descent, Latino descent, or you can say you're Latino, you're white with Latino. I would say that 95% of Latinos claim whiteness. You know what? As we usually do sometimes, let's pull up Chat GPT. Hey, Chat GPT. What? I can't use the voice? Oh, man. Can you tell me the census information? What was the percentage of Latinos that claimed white on demographic forms? And what was the percentage of Latinos that claim blackness on demographics forms with the IRS? Okay. Less than 1.2% of Latinos identified as black. Around 33.8% of Latinos marked two or more races, many combining some other race with others. Latinos in 2010 claimed 53% of Latinos claimed white only, which means that they didn't even claim Latino, they just claimed white. Now, in 2020, that number dropped to 20% of Latinos who claimed just white, no Latino. Approximately 20.3 million Latinos, roughly 42%, selected some other race alone, a sharp increase from 2010. So those people that claimed white alone switched up and claimed some other race. Now, and it says the drop in white identification among Latinos suggests a shift in racial self perception, with many rejecting traditional U.S. racial categories that don't reflect their lived or cultural experience. Okay. Chat GPT, can you tell me the same information for immigrants from Africa and the Dominican Republic? Right. Okay. They don't give numbers, but they say the majority of African immigrants, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Ghana, Somalia, identify as black on the US Census. Give or take 90% of African born immigrants identify as black alone. Some small percentages identify as white and others or two or more races. Example they give: a Nigerian immigrant is highly likely to identify as black, while an Egyptian immigrant may identify as white or some other race. Dominicans living in the US, and it says 60% of Dominicans claim some other race alone. 25% of Dominicans claim two or more races. And six less than 6% claim black alone. And it says most Dominicans do not identify as black or white in the US context, but rather choose some other race or mixed category, reflecting the island's different racial paradigms. So it says African immigrants claim 90% as black alone, and Dominicans less than 6% claim black alone. Now, Chat GPT, can you give me that same information for European immigrants living in America? Okay, as we thought, 96 to 98% of European immigrants from countries like the UK, Germany, Italy, Russia, Poland, France identify as white alone, leaving out their European ancestry. Less than 1 to 2% identify as some other race, two or more races, or any other non white category. Oh. Those from Eastern Europe and Russia may occasionally write in identities, such as Slavic, but are still counted as white by the census standards. Important note, important note, you all. The US Census treats Middle Eastern and North African MENA immigrants, e.g., Lebanese, Iranians, Palestinians, as white, even though many in those communities reject that classification. Some Jewish immigrants from Europe may express a distinct ethnic identity but still check white due to limited options on the form. So, less than 5% of African immigrants claim white, 6 to 8% of Dominican immigrants claim white, and 96 to 98% of European immigrants claim white only. And this is white only, so they don't even designate if they are European or anything that of that nature. So 5% of blacks claim white, 5% of African immigrants claim white. I think it's a little bit higher than that. Dominican immigrants, 6 to 8% claim white only. I think that number is higher than that as well. European immigrants, 96 to 98% claim white. I mean, it's not going to be lower for sure. But oh, there we go. My bad, y'all. I accidentally hit the. There we go. So I mean, knowing these numbers, how do y'all feel about that? Do you feel that the numbers are skewed? Do you agree with? Do you believe those numbers? So the question is, do immigrants? Well, I'll say this: immigrants ain't claiming black. Mm, immigrants aren't claiming black. That's for sure. That's for sure. Hold on, y'all. I apologize. Ah, we're coming up on an hour and 42 minutes. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. With everything that's going on with immigration, how do y'all feel? Do these numbers change the way you think about the immigration crisis that's going on right now with people being deported? Does it change knowing these numbers that Chat GPT gave us? I mean, and Chat GPT is not all the way, not always right. We're not going to give Chat GPT that. We're not going to say it's always right because it's not always right. And then another thing about that is, do the younger generations even care? Do the generations behind us even care? And I would say they don't, because a lot of them feel that there's no racism. How do y'all feel? How y'all? This immigration fight, is it black people's fight? Should black people join in coalition? Is melanin a connector? I'll say no. I don't believe that melanin is a connector, because you have tribes in Africa that, yeah, they killing each other, melanin or no melanin. Do we? I mean, do we? Other than being do we put too much emphasis on melanated in terms of group thinking? Is there too much emphasis put on melanin? Do you think that melanated people are connected, or just, different tribes of people got melanin? But are we connected? And I'm telling y'all this, saying that, yeah, I was a Pan Africanist, but over the years I'm grown to, I'm not a Pan African. And the reason I say that is, black people even get ostracized by immigrants. Some immigrants come over here and think they have a leg up on you. Tariq Nasheed had an interview with a lady last week from, I think, Pakistan. The lady said that, how do we come over here and do better than black people? And he was like, how you figure you're doing better than black people? How can we help people that look down on us, even in their immigrant status? And and that's not to say that, you don't, but how can you look down on somebody who is a citizen of the country you are coming to? How can any immigrant come into America and ridicule black people? I think that's the bigger, I think that's the bigger point in this conversation. How, why would classes of immigrants come over? What makes them think that they come over here and have a higher status than us and we're citizens? What about our existence makes them think this? I don't know. I can't really speak for them, but I just know that there are groups, melanated, non-melanated, that have a disdain for black and blackness and being associated with blackness. Why are these same people coming and asking for our help? Who knows?
Lab Addicts Music Group.
But we talked about gun violence in black communities first hour of the show. And I think talking about that kind of threw me off in terms of the immigration topic that we were going to talk about tonight. There was some value in that information, but this violence that's going on in black communities has me thinking on other things, and the immigration crisis really up there in terms of it is important. And we talked about how a lot of
Lab Addicts Music Group.
immigrants come over here and shun blackness, but now they're looking for our help. And a lot of cases they're
Lab
not getting.
Addicts Music Group.
So I wanted to take a look at immigrants and their identity association with white and how it has pushed them to think they have or higher class, have higher citizen status than we as citizens. So like I said, immigration crisis going on. I don't think it's a minority problem. I think it's a problem with people that are here in the nation illegally. I don't think this is a minority problem. Somebody can change how I think about that, but I feel like that's a problem. We're not in,
Lab Addicts Music Group.
and lots of these groups of people that are now wanting our help are people that shun blackness in their quest
Lab
for the
Addicts
American
Music
dream.
Group.
Why they would expect us to help them is beyond me. But we talked about it. Maybe I said something that will make you think about how you do. I hope that we talked about something in terms of gun violence that will make you go out into your community, see what it is we can do to combat gun violence. The government's not going to help us. We got to help us. This is your boy Maas Appeal. Thanks everybody for watching and getting me to 375,000 views. I'm gonna keep going. Keep running them numbers up. Hit the like button, subscribe to the page, share this video out, run them numbers up. Run the numbers up. We're growing.
Lab Addicts Music
I'll see
Group.
y'all tomorrow. I got another topic. Hopefully nothing changed to change that topic at the last minute. But yeah, shouts out to everybody watching on Facebook, Instagram, and
Lab
X. I
Addicts
left y'all alone
Music
for the
Group.
whole show tonight. So yeah. Tomorrow's another day for us to be better than yesterday. I'm out.